What's good? It's Woog. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are into the fight talk. Devin Haney, 24-0, is defending his lesser WBC lightweight belt versus Yuriorkis Gamboa, 30-3. I want to like this fight more than I actually do. You have one of boxing's most promising young talents in Devin Haney at only 21 years of age, stepping way up in opponent quality, facing former Olympic gold medalist and former featherweight 126-pound champ Yuriorkis Gamboa. Here's the issue, guys. Gamboa was just in the ring against another amazing young talent, Gervonta Tank Davis, last December, and Gamboa fought a very spirited fight before getting stopped in the 12th round. But the TKO loss isn't even what has me questioning his ability to perform at top levels here. No, Gamboa also ruptured his Achilles tendon in that fight, which is one of the worst and most debilitating sports injuries that can occur. Look up boxing analyst Richard Dwyer's Haney versus Gamboa preview, where he gets into the statistics on how many professional NBA athletes are even able to return to the sport after rupturing the Achilles. And out of those that do, how many return to peak form and how long are they able to continue playing for? It's really not good. And you mean to tell me that in less than a year of rupturing his Achilles versus Tank Davis in the TKO loss, that he's going to return to the ring against one of the most vibrant and athletic young fighters in the game? Now, Gamboa supposedly didn't have surgery to repair the Achilles, so maybe there's question as to its severity, but the injury isn't the only red flag we're dealing with here. Gamboa, the former Olympic gold medalist out of Cuba, won his professional title at featherweight, 126 pounds. That's 2 divisions down. And Gamboa's 38. Haney is a 21-year-old 135-pounder. Usually, a fighter will enter the pro ranks in one division and then will slowly move up a couple weight classes as he enters his late 20s, early 30s, and so forth. Floyd Mayweather started at 130, then 135, 140, 147, and a little bit at 154. Catchweights notwithstanding. Gamboa started at 126, where he was looking like one of the most blindingly fast and explosive punchers in the sport. He was an undefeated champ. He went to 130 for only a couple of fights, but had major layoffs between 2011 and 2012. That was a 15-month layoff. Then another 1-year layoff between 2013 and 2014, where he'd return to fight Terrence Crawford for the lightweight 135-pound title and would lose in a great fight where he had Crawford hurt a couple of times. That was probably Crawford's toughest fight to date. Crawford ended up winning via 9th round knockout. Go rewatch that fight. It's a good one. After that, Gamboa has since had another 13-month layoff, then a 15-month layoff between 2015 and 2017, then another 1-year layoff between 2017 and 2018. The good news is that he hasn't been going up in weight beyond lightweight 135. He's still hanging around there. He had one really bad-looking loss versus Robinson Castellanos in 2017, where I thought it would more or less be a wrap for Gamboa. He was fighting a relative no-namer, was having some trouble, it was a pretty even fight, and then Gamboa unexpectedly, where I thought he was up on the cards, quit on the stool. It was kind of weird. But here we are, 3 years later, and the now 38-year-old Gamboa is taking on back-to-back fights versus some of the brightest prospects and young champions in lightweight. Gervonta Tank Davis, and now Devin Haney. Haney, on the other hand, is nearly half Gamboa's age. He's naturally bigger. Again, he's 21, which means that he'll eventually be fighting at 140 and inevitably 147. Haney is undefeated and actually turned pro very early. I used to watch Devin Haney TV videos on YouTube in 2015 and 2016 where you had this kid trained at the time by Floyd Mayweather Sr. living in Vegas and going down to Mexico to fight grown men at only 16 years old. And he was already talking to the camera like, you're watching Devin Haney TV, before then going into the ring and dominating in these small regional professional fights. Interesting career path. They've been grooming this kid for boxing success for years. Well, he's now here in the biggest step-up fight in his young career. See, unlike slightly older Teofimo Lopez or Gervonta Davis, Haney is one of the unproven prospects, more like Shakur Stevenson. These are fighters who are passing the eyeball test with flying colors, dominating little to no-name opponents, and acting like they've been groomed at the Floyd Mayweather billionaire boxer charm school. In fact, I just heard Devin Haney say that he aspires to be the first billionaire boxer. Well, I mean, that's cool. What I really hope young boxers understand is that early to mid-career resume that Floyd Mayweather developed before getting into Money Mayweather's super fight mode. Floyd spent the first half of his career earning real-world titles at 130, 135, 140 before fighting then Kingmaker Oscar De La Hoya in 2007. Floyd was 30 years old when he fought Oscar and became Money Mayweather. He paid his dues and earned pound-for-pound top 2, top 3, some had him at top 1 type consideration well before he became a pay-per-view star. Now, I'm not suggesting that Devin Haney is distracted or isn't 100% committed. He very much seems a willing student of the game. He's becoming very well developed, 21 years old, man. But I hope he knows that there's a ton of work to do in order to be considered among the greats. Now, you can make a lot of money without being considered one of the greats, but I do think that Haney really wants to prove himself, or else he wouldn't be fighting Gamboa this early. Where I am a little leery looking forward is the possible effect that Teofimo Lopez might have on these other young guys. They just saw someone around their age go in there and dethrone a boxing legend and champion. I still think that was an outlier type audacious move by Lopez. I'm pretty blown away. But I think that's going to light a fire under these other guys and might even get them to do some crazy things that maybe they shouldn't. I tend to believe in the incremental build-up for most fighters. Look at Gervonta Davis. He'll fight some fights early, build, and then fight a Pedraza, who's at this level, and then a Leo Santa Cruz, who might be here, one step above or something. Teofimo Lopez said F all y'all and sought out the biggest shark in the tank and went after him. And hey, to the victor go the spoils. But if I'm Gervonta Davis, I stick to the plan. If I'm Devin Haney, I stick to the plan. I'd be even more careful with Haney. Now, Ryan Garcia might have gotten himself into some trouble. I'm very impressed by that choice in opponent, given Garcia's lack of experience and Luke Campbell's quality fight history. So Haney is probably right on track with this one. Gamboa's almost 40, is coming off a torn Achilles, and anything he does have to show Haney, he'll have to show him in the first few rounds. Because although Gamboa fought a quality second half of the fight versus Tank Davis, except for the stoppage at the end, that injury, if it's as bad as it was reported, that bothers the chances I could really give Gamboa here, even if Haney's somewhat green and unproven. Now, Haney might catch a few fades during the early rounds. I mean, Gamboa, again, has fast hands and a lot of experience. But I think that Haney's got the youth and athleticism to go a full 15 rounds if he had to. Again, he's almost half Gamboa's age. So even if you think that the score might be 2-2 after the first 4, how do you then see rounds 5, 6, and 7 playing out? Especially with the fighter who's usually as low volume as Gamboa is. Because even in his prime, he was kind of a pot shotter, 1-2 shots at a time, just one with tremendous hand speed. I'm not expecting to see a ton of combinations from him, especially once we hit the middle rounds. So I think the next question here is whether or not this goes the distance. I tend to think that if Haney can put a beating on someone, he will. But I've seen Haney's offense kind of blunted at times, even as far back as when he was a kid fighting in clubs in Mexico. Even Haney's recent opponent, Alfredo Santiago, counterpunched and got off effectively, making Haney look less than spectacular. Haney is generally a patient fighter. He's more Shakur Stevenson than Gervonta Davis. He's two-handed, but doesn't totally press the issue in the moments where his opponents aren't giving him much to counter. Gamboa, aside from that loss versus Robinson Castellanos where Gamboa quit in the corner, he's pretty resilient. Crawford stopped him, but that was a very spirited Gamboa effort. I think Haney will want to finish Gamboa, but I just don't know to what level his game is developed to be able to stop someone of Gamboa's caliber, even at 40 years old. I think that it's more likely that Haney wins 9-3 or even 10-2, which is still pretty dominant. But let me know your thoughts on this one. Who are you taking? And also, how excited are you for this one? I know that a lot of people are ripping all of the youngins not named Teofimo Lopez because he took that biggest gamble and won. But I don't think Haney should be in any major hurry. Dude is 21 years old and is already being considered as a possible top 3, top 5 fighter at lightweight. I don't know whether he's on his way to $1 billion, but he's certainly on his way to major titles and major opportunity. But please, leave your comments in the comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are into the fight talk. I'm Woog, thanks for tuning in.